Headphone highlights. Hello. We have not had a live headphone highlight for some time, but glad to have it back here in front of us right there on the screen. Hooray. Headphone highlights. Got something interesting today, and in order for me to talk about this, it is kind of a prerequisite for me to have at least some sort of accessory to go along with this to really kind of seal the message and seal the deal here. So really quick, we're going to go ahead and get this joke out of the way. There we go. Okay. Get the character here. Oh, that's good. All right, let's do this. Let's get started with. Today we're talking about the Grado Hemps. Yes, the Grado Hemps. Ha ha. Hee hee. Funny joke. So Grado is a company we haven't talked about before. Hey, what's up, Lady Marslander? But one that I've been wanting to talk about for some time. These are the Hemps. Why are they called the Hemps? Well, let's take a closer look here really quick and you'll kind of get the idea. Hemp. And then there's a little logo on there. Something we all kind of recognize. Yes. Yes, it's all a joke, okay? These are called the Hemps because this wood section here is made of actual compressed hemp fibers. Grado thinks they're funny boys. It's a cool thing that they did here with the hemp. I think that's really cool, but they also sell this for $420. Ha ha ha! Hilarious. So yes, the Hemps, they know what they're doing. Don't catch them on fire? Yeah, don't catch them on fire unless you, well, want a really good time. Grado is an interesting brand. They're a brand stationed right here in the good old US of A over there in Brooklyn, New York. And they make all sorts of headphones, but this is kind of their general design scheme for headphones. This is what a lot of their main lines look like this. It's a very simple sort of design. You kind of got your driver, you have a simple pad, and then you have these little like pins, and then a very simple headband, and a cable that we'll talk about later. Yeah, they're a very cool brand, and they make some really pretty killer headphones. And it's got kind of a very boutique kind of look and a very boutique kind of attitude about their products. But they're not really that boutique, not anymore. Grado's a pretty big name brand these days. Not as big as stuff like your Sennheisers or Bose or Sony or anything like that. Not even like Hi-Fiman, but they're big enough, especially here in the States. They're pretty well known in the audio enthusiast, audiophile community. They are an interesting company. They are a very traditional company. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But cool stuff, cool guys over there. And these are pretty cool too. In fact, do I have it up here? I do. 1 second. To kind of give you an idea of how kind of boutique they're trying to have their brands, this $420 headphone came in just a cardboard box. Comes in the cardboard box. You open up your cardboard box and it says right there, family fun for 6 decades in Brooklyn, New York. Oh, you can't even see it. I'm sorry. There you go. Family fun for 6 decades, Brooklyn, New York. So yes, it's a family-owned business. And here's a few of these fellas. 3 generations of sound. Look at those guys. Those are some audio boys right there. Look at those audio boys. It's even signed. Very, very nice. Good stuff. And as you can see, the box here, there's really like nothing to it. Just a little foam insert to kind of fit the headphone and not much else. So it's got a very, like I said, boutique sort of aesthetic, a very boutique sort of almost like garage industrial grunge sort of attitude towards their products. And I actually kind of like that. But yeah, let's take a quick look at the Hemps here. So like I said, that wood is actually hemp fibers. Bring that a little closer for you to see. It is compressed hemp, real hemp. Very, very cool. And when you feel it, it feels really, really interesting. You can actually feel the individual fibers. It's almost a little furry feeling. It's really cool. And it is just fibers compressed really, really hard, and then I assume kind of dried out and dehydrated to make a really solid piece. On the front here, we have our Grado logo. It says hemp right there. And then we got our old Mary Jane leaf right there, also to kind of show everything off. You got a metal grill here because these are an open back headphone. You have on the inside, that's kind of where your driver is. Interesting little like hole design there. You have this ear pad. We're calling this an ear pad for now. But yeah, you have the ear pad here. It's just simple foam. We'll talk more about that later when we get to comfort. But a very, very simple pad. Going into the rest of the construction, we have this yoke, which is plastic. It does allow for a little bit of just the smallest amount of swiveling. You have unlimited spinning this way. So, I mean, that's kind of nice, but also a little bit of a pain in the butt. Right here, we have our adjustment brackets, which are plastic. This is a very, this is a very commonplace for this headphone to break. And we'll talk a little bit more about that once we finish looking over this thing. We're going to talk about this build, but let's keep going. Then we have the headband, which is very, very simple. It's just a spring steel ribbon with some, leather wrapped around it and stitched. It's very, very firm. You can stretch it if you want to, but it's not really soft. There's not really any padding here. It's just a leather wrapped piece of steel, and that's it. The adjustment system is a tension system, so it just slides up and down like so. That's just that. There's not really a way to adjust the tension on there, but it's fine. And then we have a big honking cable. It's permanently attached. It's a permanently attached cable. We'll talk more about this cable later too. But yes, there's your build. That's kind of the overall build. This is going to start our discussion about this headphone. I have very mixed feelings about this headphone. And almost all of that is primarily about this build. The build on these is just terrible. The build on these is so... Okay. It's a traditional Grado build. They build a lot of their headphones like this, especially stuff like their SR60s and their SR80s. That's like their main line of stuff that gets sold all the time. This follows that same methodology, but it's a $420 headphone. And for a $420 headphone to be built like this is kind of lunacy. And it drives me nuts. This breaks all the time. People have this complaint about this portion breaking because it's just cheap plastic holding a metal bar that can't really take much tension. Luckily for me, it hasn't broken yet, but why? Okay. This is just plastic. This is just a plastic yoke that doesn't really do a whole lot. Why? This headband it's got no comfort to it. There's no comfort to this headband. I know I'm ranting right now and I'm not putting these in a good light, but please bear with me because there are lots of good things to talk about. But first, we're going to talk about why I'm upset. First, we're going to talk about why these make me angry, and it's the build. The headband is bad. The headband needs something else. It's not the most uncomfortable thing in the world, right? For me, it's fine, but it does... No, you know what? No, it's still bad. It's not comfortable. It is not a comfortable headphone. It's not. You would have to bend this like to the shape of your head for it to actually be comfortable. Right now, it feels like it's just pressing right down on the top of my head. Just solid freaking metal with no padding. And listen to this. I don't know if you can hear this. I don't know if the mic's picking this up, but it's squeaky. Because the metal and the plastic, and I guess there's like little rubber pieces in there that kind of help with the tension. It's just like when you roll them around, it squeaks and rattles and it sounds like a mouse is in your head. You put these on and you hear that squeaking noise while it's rolling around in your ears, and it just sounds like mice running around in your brain. Oh my God. Now we could talk about the pads. Oh my God. Grado. This has to stop. These have to go. I know that you're trying to do a traditional thing with these pads and you're all about your pads. These are abysmal. These pads, I'm going to take this off to show you all because it might look, you look at this, you're like, oh, that looks like an okay amount of padding. The padding stops there. That's it. That's all you get. Not even a 1/4 inch. Because that's all there is. There's your driver right there. There's the driver. And then the pad is just this little dinky little piece of foam. What is this? Look on the inside here. You see that? You see the thickness of this flap right there? That is the only padding you get between you and the driver. The thickness of that little inside lip right there. That's it. This piece right here where my thumb is. That's the thickness you get for padding. Ooh, these are bad. These pads are so bad. I mean, they're... So right out the bat, one of my major recommendations for this headphone, and any Grado headphone that is of this design, throw these away and get some of these. These are based on Grado's like more higher end headphones where they have these larger pads. You've seen these pads before in our videos about some of the Koss headphones. These are the Grados that they're meant for. Well, not specifically this headset, but these slip on here. Now we're talking. Look at the difference. Grado, look at the difference. And that you already have these pads available, Grado. You make these, put them on everything. Don't do the little dinky pads anymore. Like it just slides right on there. It's no big deal. Such a huge difference. And to be fair, this is still not the best solution. Okay, we'll talk more about them when we get to comfort, but this is a much better solution than this. This is a joke. Why are you doing this? Stop it. No. Okay, so the pads are bad. The pads are really, really awful. I don't even know. Okay, here it is. I'm going to put this back on just for solidarity, but I'm going to take these off as soon as I can. I promise you. All right, so the pads are bad. The build is very, very questionable. Now we get to talk about this cable. Oh boy. Oh boy. $420 headphone. And you'd think they have headphones in many, many ranges of price. You got headphones for like 60, 70 bucks, 80 bucks, 100 bucks, 300, 400, 500, going way, way up there to a couple thousand. Grado? I don't know who you have on your engineering team that is insistent on this, but having especially your higher end headphones have this permanently attached cable is inexcusably bad. Not only is it permanently attached, it's an atrocious cable. This is the thickest, stupidest cable I've seen in some time. This is thicker than the freaking power cable from my PC to the wall. This is thicker than that. And it's for a dinky little tiny headphone. What are you doing, Grado? Why? Why? This is so frustrating. It's so frustrating. This is one of the worst cables I've ever seen. I don't care if there's some sort of science behind the way this is rubber wrapped or rubber sealed to prevent some sort of harmonic distortion. I don't care. It's so bad, it's not worth it. This needs to stop. This big fat vacuum cleaner cord needs to go away forever. Permanently attached cables, especially on your high-end headphones, need to go away forever. This is unacceptable. I hate it. I hate it so much. Look at the chonk on the splitter here. Look at this. It looks like it just looks like something on some sort of industrial appliance, like what you would have on the cord of like your clothes iron. Ooh, Grado. Oh my god. You go to the other end just to show it off here. It terminates to a simple 3.5 inch millimeter. Very simple, very basic. I believe it does maybe come with a 1/4 inch adapter. Mine didn't. Full disclosure, I bought these used, so I should have mentioned that in the beginning. This is a used pair of headphones, so it may not be the most representative of what you would get brand new, but they were very, very well taken care of, and they look immaculate to me. I think they're pretty well representative. So yeah, simple 3.5 mm, and it's just bad. The build on these is so bad. The build on these is I really dig the hemp. I think that's super cool. I love this. This is cool. That's really neat. Hey, hemp, cool stuff. I like that a lot. The rest of it is atrocious. The rest of it is just inexcusable. And I wish I could say that this is the only headphone they have that is like this, but unfortunately, the vast majority of their line is like that. They have the same problems. Why are you doing this? You need to stop. You can keep the aesthetic, right? You can keep the look of it, because everyone recognizes this shape as a Grado headphone. I get it. But the build quality is bad. It's just bad. It shouldn't be like that for a $420 headphone. Okay, so the build's bad. We got that established. How does that affect the comfort? Oh boy. I'm going to put these on right now with their stock pads, and we're going to find out together. God. Okay, so how does this feel on my head right now? I feel like there is a 4-year-old child sitting on my shoulders with a spoon, and not like the roundish end of the spoon, but the other end of the handle of the spoon, and it's just jabbing that on top of my head. That's what the headband feels like. A child stabbing me in the head with a spoon. Okay, cool. How about the ear comfort? Well, these pads are so damn small that these are just on ears. They're not over my ear. They're just on my ear. And there's so little padding. I need to think of a really good analogy for this, because it's not like it's a vice. The clamp force isn't awful, but there is clamp force, and these are very, very firm, and there's no padding. So it's basically like having 2 planks of wood just slapped against your face on either side of your head. It's just having 2 planks of wood cramped onto your ears. So my ears are crushed right now. They're just crushed against the side of my head. They're incredibly bad comfort. Then we also miraculously have to talk about the cable again, because this cable is so thick. You see what just happened? Did you see that? Let's do it again. Okay, I'm going to reposition the headphone so that's comfortable, okay? All I'm going to do is drop this. Watch the headphone, okay? Watch the headphone. Did you see that? How it dropped? This cable adds so much weight to this headphone. It's unbelievable. It's... God, I swear the cable is maybe half the weight of the headphone. Oh boy. It always has this kind of feeling of it kind of pulling down on you. Coupling that with the just having wood against my ears and then the child pushing down a spoon on me. It's bad. It's very bad. This is one of the most uncomfortable headphones. Oh boy. Oh boy. So, comfort cloud system. What are we going to give it? Oh, it gets a 3. It gets a 3. It's not as bad as maybe just having a clamp on your head. So there's that. And that's almost entirely just because the clamp force is reasonable. But because there's just no padding, and it's on my ear, and this cable is heavy, and the headband is so firm and stiff and uncomfortable, it's bad. It's bad. It's a 3. It's a 3. Is 3 the lowest yet? Yes. 3 is the lowest score yet for comfort. But that's with the default pads, okay? If we can even call them that. With these default pads, we're giving this a 3. Yeah, you can wear it, but you're going to wish you weren't. You'll wear it for maybe 10, 15 minutes and then just scream and fall over dead. So the fix is to just, like I said, take these off. put these big ones on. Now, if you wanted to go and get the official Grado big boy ear pads, you could do that. But Grado, I will once again mention that these are just foam. That's all this is. This isn't any kind of special material. It's just foam, okay? Just foam. So you could go and buy these directly from Grado and get the official Grado big boy pads, but you're going to pay a hefty price for that. So that's hard for me to recommend. And I really, really sincerely think that Grado, you need to lower your price on these pads. One, these pads should come standard on all of your headphones that look like this, that have this kind of chassis design. It's insane that you don't do that, but whatever. If you're not going to make them standard, you need to make them affordable. These are not worth 50, 60 bucks, however much you're making me spend on them. No. And so for that reason, I cannot recommend that you buy them directly from Grado. So what I have instead, and you'll see this in the description of the video, these here are some third-party brand from Amazon, the same ones I use for my Koss headphones. Now with these pads, some things get fixed. Not everything gets fixed, but some things do. One, it's making the headphone stretch a bit further out from the head. And when it does that, it has this effect on the headband where I am no longer relying so much on the headband for the actual fit of this headphone. So stuff like the weight of the cable is not as bad because the majority of the fit is now on the ear rather than a little on the ear and a lot on the top of the head. So I can make the top of the head a lot looser, so it's not as bad. It doesn't feel, instead of feeling like a 4-year-old child stabbing me with a spoon, now it just kind of feels like, I don't know, I have a quarter sitting on my head, just like sitting there on top of my head. It's not really that noticeable. It's okay. It's fine. This is no longer, well, I'll talk about a little bit about this. Yeah, it's over my ear. So I guess technically it's now an over-ear headphone. But because of the way that these pads are designed, you see how they kind of got that concave look? This goes in at not a very steep angle. So even though your ear is now inside the pad instead of the pad being on your ear, there's not a whole lot of room in here for your ear. So when I put these on, it's a little bit of a combination of it being around my ear, but also on my ear. What's happening is the top of my ear and the bottom of my ear are still getting kind of compressed against the wall of the pad. Okay? So it's still not the most comfortable thing, but it is a hell of a lot more comfortable than these. Oh boy. With the big boy pads, how does that affect our cloud system? Well, it goes from a 3 to, let's say, a 7. That might be a little generous. 6.5, 7. It's around that range now. Way better. Still not perfect, but so much better. And all it took was putting these on the headphone to fix all those comfort problems. These should be available for every single kind of Grado headphone that has this design. Oh boy. I have run it through the ringer on the choices of the build. I've run it through the ringer on how that choice has affected the comfort of the headphone. But how do they sound? And that's where the roller coaster is. In case you didn't know, this is a very roller coaster of a review. I hate that I have to hate the build and the comfort of these headphones because I love how they sound. Now, this is the only set of Grado headphones that I own. It's not the only set of Grado headphones I have heard, but it is the only ones that I own. And I'm perfectly happy with that because these sound incredibly good. This is probably the most audiophile kind of thing I own now. Because it's so like the look and the build and the wonkiness is so just, I don't know, man, like 1970s bearded audiophile in his basement kind of look and feel and attitude with the product. And then the sound is just so awesome. It's just, it has that feel about it all together. So let's talk about that sound, because oh my God, it is one of the most musical headphones I think I've ever heard. And I know that doesn't really mean anything, but man, oh man, it's not a warm headphone. It's got a little bit of warmth, but it's not super warm. It's not dark. It's not really neutral. But it's close. It's leaning more towards neutral than it is something too warm or too dark. So it's not very V-shaped. Subtle U-curve maybe. But the bass range is wonderful. You get really good textured and impactful and detailed sub bass. You get good punch and resonance and vibration and pounding in your chest kind of low end, but it's very, very honest low end. It's very true low end. It's very clean, clear, and accurate low end. It's not bleeding into all over the place, all over your mid range. Super accurate, very impressive, high performing low end. The mid range is fabulous. The mid range has incredible natural timbre, and vocals are an absolute delight. It is detailed. It is full body. It is front and center. It's very mid forward, and it is such a delight. There's so much nuance and texture in the mid range that you don't normally get from headphones in general, let alone sub $500. The treble range it's got some good sparkle, it's got some good highs, but it's nowhere near sibilant. It might be a little rolled off at the very top end, but it's hard for me to say that because I don't ever feel like I'm losing detail in the high end with these. I just feel like those details are totally unoffensive. They're very relaxed. It's a very relaxed yet very detailed high end. It's lovely. It's so nice. Stuff like shrieking female vocals from some like weird Japanese anime, no problem. This can handle it. It doesn't make you cringe with the sibilants on there. Doesn't happen. But the detail is awesome. Awesome, awesome detail. So the overall package between your mids and your lows and your highs, awesome. I have nothing to complain about. It's such a perfect blend of detail and character while not being dull, while not being overly flavored. It's just, what an incredible sound. What a artisanal, audiophile kind of sound that these things produce. Ooh boy, it's delightful. Oh my gosh, it just oozes with confidence. Confidence and artistry. I mean, I can't go on enough about how wonderful the sound signature on these is. Oh my gosh. Soundstage gets heavily affected by going up to the big boy pads. You do still get some pretty decent soundstage even from the little wafers. But adding the big boys gives you even a little bit more. And the soundstage is fabulous. It's not gigantic, but it's also it's not a super intimate headphone by any means. It's not a little bit more than medium soundstage, so it's pretty large. You're getting really good air without things feeling like they're too far away to be able to really hear them. So you get a lot of space, a lot of air, and the sense of distance, but you still have a lot of intimacy with the details. So it's awesome soundstage. And the imaging on these is also superb. Everything is very quick and very precise. So I'm able to hear where things are very, very accurately. I have full confidence in what I'm hearing. no matter where it's coming from. I did a little bit of gaming with these, even, yes, we game with them tonight, but I game with them a little bit over the last couple of weeks, and they're a delight for gaming too, because that imaging is really, really good. The image separation and the instrumental separation is, whew, it is awesome. Every instrument just belongs in its own space, and it's crystal clear where it is and what it is. It's such a, almost like, not theatrical in the sense of like going to a movie, but like being at a like a concert, right? It's like being at a concert hall without the reverb, but having just this, like, where things are and that they're around you and you can pinpoint them, and they have distance to them between you and what is being played. So not only do you hear where they are, but you feel them. You feel where they are. What a great combination of soundstage and imaging. And then coupled with just that incredibly musical, beautiful, beautiful sound. I don't own a headphone that I have as much of a dichotomy with as I do with the Grado Hemps here. The build is bad. The pads are awful. The cable is atrocious and there's just no excuse for it. But the sound is amazing. I hate them and I love them. And I love to love them and I hate to hate them. But yeah, man, the Grado Hemps are a hell of a good time. And, the hemp, thinking about it right now, it kind of makes sense. The way that these sound just sound like a chilled out good time, bro. I love these stupid headphones. I don't agree with how they're being made, but I still love them. There are ways to mod the headphones to, have the detachable cable, but that requires way more than I'm willing to deal with. Hello. Like, you got to resolder stuff and break the thing apart, basically. And I'm not willing to do that. But hey, if you want to try that, go ahead, by all means. More power to you. But yeah, Grado Hemps, awesome headphones with some caveats, but cool stuff. There's that then. I hope you enjoyed that. And we'll be talking more headphones as usual very soon. Hang in there. I'll see you soon.